Hello there guys. Earlier this week I put up a video showing some of the models which were on display at Scale Model World Telford last weekend, and I'd really like to thank you for your response to that video. It really was fantastic. There were lots of great comments and feedback, and I'm glad to know that you like that sort of slideshow style of model show video. What I thought I'd do today is give you a quick glimpse of what I bought at Scale Model World. It wasn't actually that much, but I did pick up a couple of things. First up, something that I had on my list when I went to Telford. I considered ordering this in the week or two before Telford, but I thought by the time it arrives I will just be at Telford anyway. This is Tamiya's brand new, just released this month, Panza 1B. I think a Panzer 1 is the only mainstream German World War II tank that I haven't built. And of course, I know it's a cliche, but you can't go wrong with a Tamiya kit. So we've got the box art here with a couple of schemes on it, including two options for the figure with a beret or a cap. And then we've got two more schemes over here on the other side of the box. We'll look at these in more detail in a moment. So of course Panzer 1s were used towards the early part of World War II, and these schemes reflect that. So we have Scheme A, 4th Panzer Division, Poland, 1939. Scheme B, 4th Panzer Division again, France, spring of 1940. And then finally Scheme C, an unknown unit, in Russia, 1941. Perhaps a little bit surprisingly, all of these schemes are solid grey schemes. Towards the beginning of the war, some German armour did have 1/3 of the paintwork covered with a brown camouflage paint, and there are references that show that. Equally, the Panzer 1, including the B variant, was used in the Spanish Civil War, and a couple of them were also used in North Africa. So I've got a potential couple of options there. I just need to make sure there are no major changes. I know in some cases, for example, the Spanish changed the main gun on their Panzers. But yes, this is quite a small kit, relatively simple, and probably will be one of the first ones here that I build. Next up, I've got a white box. This is a set of Eduard Overt, in this case for the FM2 Wildcat. So if you're not familiar with Overt, they are basically all of the kit parts, minus the instructions, minus the decals, and minus the box art. And the idea is that a lot of kits come with multiple decal options, but of course you can only use one of them, and so by just rebuying the plastic, you can reuse some of those older decals. Now in my case, I don't have any of the Wildcat kits, but I do have plenty of spare decals. And of course the instructions for Eduard kits are available online. This is the full boxing of this kit. As you can see, it's got some interesting colour schemes here. I do like this slightly unusual scheme here, quite colourful for an American sea-based fighter. And of course, if I don't have the decals for some of these things, I could also use my Cricut cutting machine to perhaps cut out some masks for them. But the one that really interests me is this one down here, because I really do like American planes in British schemes. So this is the Naval Air Squadron HMS Searcher, August 1945. I suspect this will be the scheme that I go for when I build this. But yes, I thought these Overtrees were really good value. This was about £10 or £11 for this box, 1/48 scale kit. You know, you can't go wrong with that. I bought one other set of Overtrees as well. In this case, it is the Japanese A6M20. Again, 1/48 scale from Eduard. In this case, I do actually have another 0. I've got this Eduard A6M3, which has a variety of schemes in it, all of which I think could reasonably be applied to the M2 variant. And if you look at the decal sheet there, look, I've got plenty of national insignia there to do another aircraft like this. Having said that, I don't plan to do this 0 in that scheme. Instead, I intend to use this famous photo as a reference. This is a 0 in the markings of the Allied Technical Air Intelligence Unit for Southeast Asia. I think this has got a lot of potential here with the sort of handmade markings on it and the wear to the Japanese paintwork and so on. I think it's got a lot of potential. So I think I really look forward to doing that one. And again, this was £10 or £11 for this set, for this kit. Moving on to a manufacturer whose kits I've never built before. They had a small but fantastic stall at Telford, and to be honest I could have bought all their models, but they were slightly on the pricier side. They're £45–50 or more, so I limited myself to one, and that is this Copper State Models World War I armoured car. I hear really good things about Copper State Models, both in terms of the quality of their kits and their subjects, so I'm really looking forward to building this. If we have a quick look inside, I'm not going to look in the bags right now, but if we have a look at just one of the sprues here, sort of one of the main bodywork sprues, you can see the detail on here looks incredibly fine. Nice fine panel lines and rivets on the side here. I reckon that should paint and weather a treat. I don't believe we have a huge amount of interior detail on this, but you can't see much through the windows anyway, and I guess there's always the potential to add some. It may be one of those subjects that there's no interior for, simply because we don't know what it looked like. If we have a quick look at the instruction manual, I always like manuals that include reference photos like this. It just really sort of enhances the quality of the instructions, especially when they're not well-known images like these. The instructions themselves are quite clear by the looks of it as well. A nice sort of CAD style. Reminds me a little bit actually of Wingnut Wings. Parts to be added are highlighted in blue, and each step is not just numbered but also described. So we go through, we've got the steering wheel and the pedals there on the interior. No seats, we've got sort of like just like a block to sit on. Various options for having the grills on the front open or closed. Same for the vision slats. And then at the rear here we've got a few options for different stowage boxes, and they link to the different paint schemes that we're going to have, which I'll show you now. So we get a number of paint schemes described on the side of the box, but I feel that they're being a bit modest there because there's quite a few more in the instructions. So on the first page here at the top we have a version from the 1st Machine Gun Platoon, which was captured by the Red Army in May 1918. Then we have another version below, similar colour but with different markings, from the 2nd Platoon, German occupation forces in Ukraine. We've got that nice cross there on the front, which I think would look really good. Over the page we've got one of the more colourful options. This one is also from the 2nd Platoon in Ukraine. This time of course with this colourful camouflage over the base coat, and actually the base coat looks a little bit lighter as well. It looks a more grey colour than the grey-green from the other versions. Moving down we have a version in Polish service, and according to Google Translate the name on the side there is just the Colonel's name, and the name on the bonnet is the Northern Front Command. Moving across the page we've got a very distinctive version here, same colour but with these big skull and crossbones on it, 1921 Polish service. The only thing that slightly worries me about this is maybe if these decals look a bit too sort of comical. It depends how they're blending with the paintwork I guess, but definitely something I might consider. Then further down the page we have the 2nd Platoon again, this time with a version in Ukraine in the summer of 1918, and a very colourful 4-colour camouflage scheme there. That could be quite fun. I haven't done a scheme like this since I built one of my World War I tanks way before I had my YouTube channel, so that's at least 5 years ago. And to be honest, I've probably still got the paint set that I bought to do that looks like, from memory, it probably matches those colours there. So that's something I might do. Still going over the page, and we've got some more skull and crossbones here. A 1917 model of the car from Berlin 1919, and the comment says there this may have been repainted in a grey colour due to the Germans running out of pigments towards the end of World War I. And a slight variation on the cross on the front there, so this decal sheet is going to be pretty huge. Another version lower down, very similar but with slightly different markings, Russia 1918. Across the page again, another grey version, Italy 1917. And then below it, slightly different markings on this version, Berlin 1919 with a Kampfwagen decal on the side there. Abteilung 101. Still going, we've got 4 more to go. All of them are in the grey scheme now, I think. We've got the 17th Army, transferred from Italy to the Western Front, Flanders 1918. 6th Platoon, March 1918. November 1918, the 3rd Armoured Machine Gun Platoon. And then finally, Berlin 1920 for the final version. And you may have noticed as I was going through those schemes, as well as the obviously different markings and colours, there were some slight variations in the vehicles as well, particularly the stowage at the back there. But you know, something like that with that many schemes really gives me confidence in the quality of the model and the depth of the research that the CSM team have obviously gone to in order to produce this kit. So I'm really looking forward to this one. In terms of what I'll build first, I'll probably build the Tamiya Panza 1. I do have quite a few projects going on at the moment, including the 1/16 scale Achilles, a diorama for the SAS Jeep that I made recently, the Avro York, which I still haven't finished, and a few more which are in progress and my YouTube members and Patreon supporters will have seen, but I haven't put on my channel yet. Talking of my YouTube and Patreon supporters, I would like to give them a huge thank you for their ongoing support. And if you would like some sneak previews and work in progress photos of my work, then you can see those by joining either of those 2 schemes. In the meantime, I'd like to say thank you to all of you for watching, and until next time, have fun modelling.